Hi, everybody watching at home. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Scott Williams. I'm the one of the co-founders of Inclusion Matters by Shane's Inspiration, and I am so happy to get to introduce and to interview today a great supporter of Shane, someone who has really been a kindred spirit, for reasons you will come to find out, to our cause. And she's one of my favorite actresses and absolute favorite people. And I'll give you a little anecdote about her too, just to tell you why that's the case. But Laura SanGiacomo, ladies and gentlemen, say hello, Laura. Did you have your theme music? Everybody at home, do it too. Thank you. I told you, I'm telling you that the Bill Withers documentary, Still Bill, you at home all watch it too. It's so great. He was a great, great man. So welcome, Laura. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Scott. How are you? You just finished filming yesterday. Oh my gosh.
I just finished last night. Yeah, we wrapped around 10:30 at night and got one in before the Christmas break. And you'll be joining us, I know, for a cup of coffee, so to speak, in January. But yeah, we're just delighted to have you. And you are my first actual interview. The first time I am the interviewer. So my apologies up front for anything stupid I say, for dumb questions, which will inevitably come. But I want to share an anecdote by way of introducing you, because you've been a friend for a long time to Shane's Inspiration, to Inclusion Matters, and a kindred spirit of ours. So I've known you for maybe close to 20 years, but when your name came up, well, I actually know when they brought your name up. I wrote an episode of NCIS that included this great character, of a therapist. And as I'm writing it, your voice just started hitting me. It just started to sound like you, that fabulous Laura SanGiacomo voice. So when I delivered the script and they all said, "Oh, this is great. Who do you have in mind?" I said, "Laura SanGiacomo." They were like, "Wow, that would be incredible. Let's see if we can get her." And thankfully I had your email address. As a matter of fact, I got Marcy from Shane's and said, "Do we have Laura's email address?" And I emailed you. I said, "Are you free?" And smartly you said, even though we were friends, you said, "Send me a script." So you didn't commit up front, which I really admired. But this is all backstory. The day you showed up at the table read, this is why I'm telling this story. You showed up, so we have this great ensemble of actors, as you know, lovely people, really dedicated to what they do. But you know, for them, it's a slog. They were doing 24 episodes at the time, and you know, it's just like one script and you start the next one. Well, we have these table reads. Laura shows up to the table read, and I'll tell you, because I read stage directions at the head of the table, and I got to see all of our actors from Mark Harmon on down, all kind of like stand at attention a bit more. And I recognized that the unspoken, and in some cases spoken, because a couple of our actors came up to me going, "Oh my God, Laura SanGiacomo, that's so great." You are so respected and admired by your peers, because they all sort of like, they all know that everybody kind of like, "Shit, Laura SanGiacomo's in the house. I better bring my A game," because that was like one of the best table reads we ever had. Plus you opened your script, I'll never forget. And it was, you know, I was super happy because, you know, we write these scripts and sometimes you get to the table read and our busier actors sometimes don't read them until the moment they're sitting at the table read. You opened your script up and man, you had notes and Post-its and red ink and scratchings and remember this. And I was like, oh, she worked on it and did homework. It was the greatest feeling in the world. So I was a fan of yours before, and I'm an even bigger fan of yours now. And I know NCIS fans adore you. And our NCIS crew always asks, "When do we get Laura SanGiacomo back?" So you are one of the greats, and we love you for doing this, and we're going to get into your life. So I'm going to stop talking about you like you're not here and just say thanks for doing this. How you been? How's your pandemic going?
Our pandemic is going really well.
Yeah?
Yeah, we keep asking Mason, "How's the food?" And he says, "Good." And then we ask him, "How are the jokes?" And he laughs. And so we know we're all doing okay.
Mason is your son, and you have to keep him entertained and joking and fed. So like, as long as the food and the jokes are good, it's all good.
Exactly.
Well, that's wonderful. I was thinking we would talk a little bit about your personal life and your career today. We have a nice hour to fill here, and so I just wanted to kind of start off from the beginning, if you don't mind, and talk about. I'm a Yonkers, New York guy, and we've always bonded over that the metropolitan area. But Denville, New Jersey, what was that like? You grew up in Denville. Oh, and there's a photo of you and your brothers.
Oh, cute.
Who's that? Who are those brothers?
Jim is in the middle and John is on the end, and that's in Texas. They're wearing actually Turtleback Zoo t-shirts, which was a great place that you went to, this little zoo for tiny kids in New Jersey. It was like a very big deal when we were little that we went to Turtleback Zoo. And it was my parents were so great because it was just the beginning of sort of the suburbs, and they found this tiny town that was surrounded by woods and open land, and it was in the middle of nowhere. We didn't get our mail delivered. We had to go and pick up our mail. That's how rural it was. Wow. If you can imagine New Jersey ever being that rural.
People don't know that because, it's called the Garden State for a reason. It's not Newark. It's like there's lots of land, and green stuff out there.
Yeah, and exactly. And for them to have grown up in the smaller cities in New Jersey, to be out in the middle of nowhere, I can see how that was really difficult, especially for the women who were staying home with little kids. But
your dad had a paper mill, if I'm not mistaken, yes?
Yeah, he worked at his family's paper mill. Cool. And it was just idyllic. We would run around in the woods playing all day. And then my mother had this cowbell, and she would ring the cowbell for dinner, and of course, and scream too, because whoever comes home the first time your mother screams at you. Right. So it was just a really, really sweet and fun place to grow up.
Excellent. Yeah, I know I think your mom Mary is watching us right now. Is she not? I hope she's.
I think she's somewhere, but I can't find her in the.
She's.
Oh, my husband's going. She got on. She's
Yay.
good.
Matt says, "Mary, here." Hi, Mom. Hi, Mary. No, hey, Mom's here. We have to mention her, so we can't leave her.
That's right.
So, good, she made it. Woo. Were you a little actress as a kid? Like, when did you know you wanted to do what you do? Did you wear school plays? Were you the class clown or any of that stuff?
Well, I did some storytelling when I was very young. Mm-hmm. And then when I was in high school, I started to be in plays, and I thought that maybe I wanted to do that. And I auditioned for Carnegie Mellon right out of high school, and I did not get in. I got waiting listed.
Really?
And so I went to a liberal arts school for a year, and during that year, I auditioned again, and then I was accepted into Carnegie.
What liberal arts school was that?
It was Washington College in Maryland, on the eastern shore of Maryland. Very small liberal arts school. Mm-hmm. And it was good. It was good to be away and have that experience, and then go into a serious. Carnegie Mellon is one of the very serious actor training programs in the country.
Oh man, it's like a factory for movie stars, for theater stars. I mean, it's great. But before we get to Carnegie Mellon, I want to ask, before we leave New Jersey, Palisades Amusement Park or Asbury Park? Either?
We used to go to Belleville to the shore.
Oh, I don't know it.
Yeah, we used to go to a little town, Bayville maybe?
It might be Bayville.
A little town in New Jersey. Yeah. And then we also used to go to Long Beach Island.
Oh, of course, LBI, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's a great place. Yeah. Last New Jersey question: Springsteen or Bon Jovi?
Springsteen.
Okay, good. Still love you.
No hard feelings or.
You said Bon Jovi, it would have been a whole nother interview, but
no slides.
You see the guitar on the wall? You see that guitar? That's the answer right there. So very well played, SanGiacomo. But now going to Carnegie Mellon is this incredible school. When you're an incoming freshman, or did you go in as a sophomore? Since you did the year.
I went in as a freshman, yeah.
So if you go in as a freshman, who were there hotshot seniors that you were like, oh man, I want to be like that person? Like who? Because honestly, you could throw a rock in LA and, you know, if at the Oscars and hit at least, you know, several dozen Carnegie Mellon grads.
Sure. Actually, when I was a freshman, we always do crew, which is to work on the different crews of the productions where the upperclassmen are actually performing in. So I was on the costume crew for a musical, and I used to wash Robbie Marshall's clothes, his costumes.
Marshall. Ah, okay.
Yes. I don't think he's called Robbie anymore, but at that time, Rob Marshall,
director, yeah. So.
He had taken a year off to be in a chorus line, I think on Broadway, and then came back to graduate. And so he was a very big deal.
Yeah. And went on to direct with Oscars for Chicago, correct? Yes. And lots of other great things since.
Yeah.
And then when you were the big cheese as a senior, surely you were, you know, there were tons of freshmen coming in wanting to be like you. Were there other classmates around? I mean, I know that you worked with Holly Hunter, for example. Wasn't she at Carnegie?
She actually graduated the year before I got there.
Oh, okay.
But there were quite a few underclassmen who have become really successful and famous. And some of them have become successful in their own theater companies, but some of them are very famous actors and designers. My classmate, Mark Wendelin, he's a really famous designer.
Right.
And and one of my classmates who I worked with the summer after my senior year, Keith Lockhart, he is Maestro Keith Lockhart.
Oh, wow.
The conductor. So there's all kinds of amazing and wonderful people.
Is there a Carnegie like mafia? Like, are you in LA going, hey, Carnegie, like, do you recognize each other and give each other a little, you know?
There's different events.
Or something we don't know about?
People come to town doing their show and email everybody, and a bunch of people get to go to the theater and watch, and it's fun and it's great. And
right.
we got a wonderful education.
Oh yeah. Amazing school.
Yeah.
Where is it? Is it Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you put French fries on your sandwiches out there in Pittsburgh, I think, right? I think
it's all good. It's all good.
In Pittsburgh, the Steelers and French fries on sandwiches. I meant to ask you when you were in school and stuff and growing up and stuff, was there a movie when you were a kid, or was there a movie star when you were a kid, or an actor as a kid that you emulated, that you went, I want to do that for a living. I want to be that person.
I remember when I came home from the movie The Deer Hunter.
Oh man.
And my mom was actually in bed asleep already, or maybe she wasn't asleep, maybe she was reading or something, and I came into her room and she said, like, how is the movie? And I said, I want to do that.
Oh wow, is that right?
I want to do that.
It was that start for you. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you watch it done really, really well that way. That is still a movie that if I'm channel surfing, no matter where it is, the 3 hours of it, I just get sucked in and I stay and I watch it every time, and it's sad and it's depressing and everything else, and I don't leave it. It's such a good film. Well, I'm glad it was a film with actual, great, incredible ensemble of Merrill, and because I get embarrassed when people say, like, when people ask me that question, I'm often embarrassed to say, well, Charlton Heston in Planet of the Apes made me go, I want to do that. So,
listen, sure. It's not all, we don't have to be all so highbrow about it.
All lofty. Yeah.
Who were my childhood heroes? Marlo Thomas and Elizabeth Montgomery. If you weren't glued to the TV for That Girl and Bewitched.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
Did you work on the nose twitch at home and that whole thing?
Of course.
There you go. Herman Munster. What can I say? Art Carney, The Honeymooners. You get out of Carnegie Mellon. You're surely, you go to New York straight, right? You go straight to the Big Apple. Now, when when I got out of my little school and went to the city, it was, wait till they get a load of me. Was there struggle? Was there waiting tables? Was there any of that stuff, or did you score jobs right away?
Yeah, there was all of that. And I was very lucky that I had a couple of agents that were submitting me. And I did 100 auditions before I got a job.
Oh, you kept count. That's great.
Yes, there was this idea, there was this professor who was at Carnegie who was going to do this project where he would pay everybody graduating to keep a diary for a year and then turn it into a book for young actors. And so the suggestion, and also we were very, I tend to be somewhat meticulous, but I kept track of every audition and who had, what agency had sent me out on it and what it was. So I knew that I had auditioned 100 times before I got a job, and that was really good.
Yeah.
First of all, really good to have 100 auditions, and really good that it only took that long to get my first job.
True.
I flew out to Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri on New Year's Eve to play Juliet and Babe in Crimes of the Heart in rep at Missouri Rep.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. That was the first job. That was the first yes after 100 no's.
That was my first job.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, lots of rejection. And again, you're right. At that age, or at any age really, when your contemporaries see you get a job and they're all having to go 200 auditions or 300 and you scored 100, they're like, damn, what did you do? You know?
Oh yeah. There were classmates that walked into off-Broadway shows or understudying off-Broadway shows or onto a TV show. And it was like brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the life. And that is part of what you need to do always. Love that. You have to find some way. Whew, it's a tough love, but you have to find some way to love the life and not let the life hurt your heart. But I find for me, it's you know, a lot of times painful, but it's really beautiful that I can still fall in love with something, because I've been now doing this a long time and I still face that rejection. I still audition for things. I still don't get them. Yeah. And, but I know that if I keep falling in love, then I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You, especially an actor like you, you know, you are such an open vessel. You're such a, you do work with your heart, and you put in your heart on the chopping block every day. So when it gets rejected, I know when I made the switch from my very storied, I always say I was such a good actor, I'm a writer now, but when I switched from my focus from acting to writing, it was a much, even though I was still getting rejected as a writer, it was an easier rejection because they were rejecting this piece of paper that I wrote. Whereas when I would audition, they were rejecting me, you know, and I remember that just being able to get past that. That's something that a lot of people take for granted with actors, that why take rejection so hard? Well, because we're saying no to you. We don't want you, you know, it's not the work you did. We don't want you. Yeah. Not the feeling. So yeah. I saw in your bio that you had were you in the original cast of the off-Broadway play called Beirut? The reason I ask you this.
Yes, I stepped in for the, it was an off-Broadway show, and I stepped in for the commercial off-Broadway run of it.
I just remember in the 80s as a young acting student, that was like the hip, cool show that everybody was talking about, Beirut. And I remember seeing it and I didn't remember if it was you or not. So, but that was awfully cool. But from stage though, you finally, you know, scored your first big role. Marcy, are you ready with this? We were thrilled to find you as Luisa Sanchez on All My Children. Yes. Of course, the role that everyone knows you from. So,
that's correct.
And if folks at home want to search YouTube, this is actually available.
Oh my God.
You have this fabulous Latina accent, and
I'm sure it was horrible.
That you were fabulous. Who doesn't want to look at that face for a long? Come on, really? You're kidding me? Anyway, that's enough of that, Marcy. So, but I was happy because as I searched around, I'm going, oh, I wonder if there's clips of that, and then there you were. But of course, I'm talking about, and you got to do some television work. But you know, I want to move us into the film that really obviously put you on the map. That everybody, I know that I and many like me, you know, when we saw the film, went, who is that? Obviously, Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Did you know that you were kind of in something that was going to go on to win the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and you were going to get all kinds of, did you know Steven Soderbergh was going to be this genius director that with this incredible body of work? Did you know that schlumpy guy on the couch next to you was going to go on to great things?
Well, I met Steven, I read for Steven. I thought the script was pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And my agents thought it was very soft porny-y.
It walked the line. It walked the line. It would have scared some people away, yeah.
Sure. But I understood it. I understood that it was a story about lying told through the medium of sexuality. Mm. And so it really worked on my subconscious a little bit. And I had met Steven, and so I didn't really get a creepy vibe from him. I just liked him. And I believe that I turned it down a couple of times. I think he reminded me a couple of years ago when we were at Sundance for an anniversary of it, that he was like, you turned it down like 3 times. And
remember that?
Because my agents were really scared of it.
Yeah.
But in the end,
not either way. Yeah.
In the end, I said no nudity, and he was like, great. And we did it. And I have to say that we rehearsed, and it was set up favored nations. There were all these clues at the beginning that this was very well. It had a structure to it that was really solid, even though it was this movie on a shoestring. Mm-hmm. They would get the dailies in, and they would go to like a gymnasium and run them on a reel to reel, but they had no sound. So this was really a tricky shoot for Steven and for all of the crew. But I went to the first couple of daily sessions, and I remember some of the first scenes that they shot were Andy's scene with her therapist. Mm-hmm. And I watched her blush on cue 5 takes in a row, and I thought, oh, this is gonna knock some people's socks off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in that respect, I thought, well, some people are going to like it and some people are going to hate it, and that's just the way it is. But right. There is something very interesting here, and the way that Steven chose the shots and how he was doing them. And I'm forgetting the really amazing cameraman's name, who I really loved so much, but I don't have all my brain really anymore. But it was just a very good feeling of people very focused on the work.
And, listen, it went, Best Picture at Cannes that year. You were named, I got to write it down, LA Film Critics, the New Generation Award. You were a fan favorite in that. Do you remember as a young actor, first of all, do you watch yourself work? Do you go to your movies? Do you watch your TV shows? Are you one of those that I can't watch myself work?
I'm not a fan of it, but I will sometimes watch something once.
Okay. Walt Lloyd, was that the cinematographer?
Walt Lloyd, oh God. Such a good man.
It was on the Google, it was on the
Yes, we can find out. We don't need all of our brain cells anymore.
Hey, nope, my brain cell's right over there on that chair, so it's great. If you could only write scripts, I'd retire. But phenomenal film. And again, when you as a young actor though, then you go and see it. Was there a breath of relief of like, oh, good, okay, they got it right, or they got it better than I had even imagined,
I don't think I had any relief, because I certainly wasn't going to be able to make a film. So I think I expected it to be as good as all of those people were, right. But not, I don't think you could ever know. And I don't know, maybe if you're a very experienced filmmaker, you can know that something's going to be, going to really hit the collective conscience, sure. like that. Right. I don't know that anyone would have predicted that.
Wow. It's a great film, and it holds up too, even in this techno generation. You know, with all the
Cool.
as much as stuff is advanced, and James Spader's walking around with a camera this big, you know, it's
Yeah.
still really cool. And it's nice to hear you obviously you went to the reunion, so you keep in touch with some cast members, or at least you got to see them again recently.
A couple of years ago, we had there was an anniversary screening at Sundance, so I saw Peter and Andy and Steven there, and
Great.
yeah.
Well, obviously it opened doors, and you went from a very small indie film to a big ass studio film with truly one of the greats in Gary Marshall when you landed in Pretty Woman. Can we talk about that a little bit? Obviously, you know, Julia's a star, but you were right there with her, and everybody remembers you so well from it. How did that all come about? I know Gary, you know, I've met him a few times and had a couple of conversations with him, and just the best possible guy. We bonded over, you know, Knicks basketball, and he was from the, you know, North Bronx, and he was like, Yonkers. Yeah, so we talked a little Yonkers, but just a lovely man. We talked Yonkers. So.
Yeah. Yeah, lovely man, lovely family. I just went in and auditioned for him, and then I got a call to do it, and you know, kind of that was that. The script was going through a lot of revisions, as you probably know that whole story.
Yeah.
So there was some tweaking that was going on a lot while we were doing it, and but yeah, it was kind of a little bit of magic there.
When you auditioned, you read for the Gary Marshall funny version or the dark it used to be called 3000, I think was the name of it, and it was this very dark film about a prostitute and the guy and all that stuff. And then Gary came along, and you know, Gary wrote a book called Wake Me When It's Funny, because you know he didn't know how to do anything else. So but obviously you got in when it became a comedy. It was already a comedy by then. Yeah.
Yeah, I auditioned for Gary. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, lovely man. We love that guy so much.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm drawn to, I think right around the same time you did Quigley Down Under. And the only reason I bring it up is a couple of reasons. One, because, you know, that guy Selleck is 6'5" and you're not. So you're playing like, you know, the love interest opposite that big dude. And also just, you know, I'm a perennial fan of the late, great Alan Rickman. And I just wonder what kind of memories you might have around just that experience of shooting that film.
Yeah, it was so amazing to be in Australia. I remember James Spader had said to me, one of the great things about this business is you get to travel the world. And so when I got offered Quigley, I just thought, you know, I feel like I should do this. Like I really have such compassion and empathy for this character. And I really want to travel the world. Like that seemed like a really good motto that Jimmy had. So, and I was already a huge Alan Rickman fan. And of course, you know, I knew the big guy, and
you knew the big guy before?
Pardon? No, I mean, I knew, you know,
it was Magnum. I mean, you knew Magnum, yeah.
And so it was a really crazy and wonderful experience. It was difficult in some areas, especially having to do with the Aborigines and the Aboriginal children. That was really difficult for me. There were no child labor laws. And so that was really difficult for me. But it was a very unique experience. And I was so glad to know Tom and to know Alan, just to get to know them. And all the Australian actors who worked on it were really, really amazing.
Right.
Ben Mendelsohn is like 18 when we shot that.
Is that right?
And you could tell he was really something then.
Oh, is that right? Excellent. You knew that. Wow. How
yeah, I think it was Alan Rickman who they were shooting a scene, and I think I happened to be there or something, and he says, Laura, watch this one. Something like that.
Really?
And I watched him enter and exit the scene, and I was like, oh God.
Wow.
That guy's something.
He knew.
So there you go.
Isn't that something? Those are great stories. I love that. You went on to do some other films after that. That one that I loved was Nina Takes a Lover, and the widely acclaimed Stewart Saves His Family with Al
Yes.
Franken.
Yes.
But before I move on to your television work and the role that most people really came to know you from, I thought we'd take a break to talk a little bit about your personal life, because basically at this point in your career, which was cooking along really nicely, you had a child. You along came Mason.
Yes, it was right after I was doing publicity for Nina Takes a Lover. I kind of knew that Nina was going to be the last film that I did.
Is that right?
Because I was getting older and it felt like the right time. And so it was right after I finished doing publicity for that film that that I was pregnant and I had Mason.
Right. And I think we have a family photo. Oh,
There he is.
And there's the great Matt Adler. Who,
Yes.
I said to Laura earlier, look at that. You do like him.
I do. I like him.
I like him too. Not that much, but I like him. Yeah, I'm glad you like him that much. I run into Matt frequently in the neighborhood or at the supermarket every now and then, like once every 2 years, and we go, "Hey, dude. Hey, man. What's up?"
Yeah.
He's like the best. He's the greatest guy in the world. And
He's the greatest guy.
And obviously, though, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. You have a child, but part of the reason that we are kindred spirits is because we founded Shane's Inspiration, my wife Catherine and I, and our friend Tiffany, because of the birth of our son Shane, who was born with disabilities, and your son as well. It sort of changed your life in a way that you didn't expect going in. Do you want to talk about that at all, or?
Yeah, Mason, who's on here listening.
Everyone wave to Mason.
He
what is he now? Is he 22 or 3? Is he?
Oh, he's 25.
Oh shit, I'm old. Oh,
yeah, that's right. Shit.
25.
How dare he?
And that's Matt.
Mason had a really difficult birth, and his birth process was very difficult, and he lost oxygen, and he was in the NICU for 11 days after he was born. That's the neonatal intensive care unit.
Well,
and I was very lucky that he decided to stay here and be with me. And so he suffered some consequences of that. And he has some issues that are different than most typical people, but there's a lot of people out there with all kinds of differences, as we are learning and celebrating and are grateful for. Would be a boring world if we all sang the same note.
Boy, wouldn't it?
So that really taught me a lot. He's taught me more than anything else in my life. And I'm very grateful. I think that I'm a better person. I think that I'm a better mother. I'm certainly smarter. And I'm more inventive than I ever would have been. And so I'm really grateful to him for sharing his life with me. And we found out about Shane's, I think, through Allison Gray.
Oh, Allie, yeah, of course.
In on the design. And and she's a young woman who has accomplished a lot in her life.
Oh my God.
Even with her different abilities.
Yes.
And so we just said, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. She pointed you to us. I forgot about that. I mean, as soon as you said it, I'm like, of course, that's how Allison brings people together. She has a knack for that. And she has CP, and she's done way more than I have. That's for sure. She's jumped out of planes and done stand-up comedy and all that stuff.
Yeah. She's been set on fire. She went to stunt school, film stunt school, and she's been set on fire.
That's right. That's right. Actually, she acted in a film, which I think is the last time I saw you and Matt together.
Oh my God. That was a beautiful film. Yeah, it was really great.
Really wonderful. So when Mason is born, though, obviously, so now, you've got a child, and like every new parent, you want to be closer to home. You don't want to be flying off making films. So did you just put it out there that I want to do television, or did Just Shoot Me come and find you.
That's exactly what happened. I started doing some meetings with people about doing a TV show, and there was this show, and I had done, actually when I was pregnant, I'd done a reading of a play that I love with Buck Henry and George Segal.
Oh my God.
And so I had just met George, and Wendy was cast right after me. And Wendy and I did a play in New York in 1986, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we've known each other for a really long time. And so it seemed like it was kind of meant to be.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic 7 years of my life. When I shot the first pilot of that show, I was still nursing Mason. So I was kind of like, whoa, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
But then we had a couple month hiatus, and then we reshot most of the pilot with David, because then David came on, and sort of
David came to the cast late, or came to
yes. Originally that part was just like very minimal,
right?
But somehow I don't really know the full story of that.
Right.
But somehow David popped in, and that part expanded, and the rest is a little bit of.
It's kind of great that you got to meet George Segal early, because I don't know, people of a certain generation I'd be super intimidated to work with him the first time. So it's actually great that you got to see him first, meet him first, and then get to work with him, because he was sort of a comedy legend himself.
Yes. And George is like, he's so great. He's so great.
Yeah.
I can't even watch anything of his early work now, because he's so freaking handsome and sexy. I can't even watch it. It was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. He's my father. I can't do it. I can't do this.
Yeah.
But he's so, if George likes you, he is immediately warm and inquisitive, and he's all focused on you, and he wants to know about you. And so he and Buck, and I had auditioned for Buck like years ago. And so the three of us were kind of like, and he and Buck Henry, oh my gosh, like that friendship was amazing.
I didn't know that. I had no idea. I didn't put the two of them together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
When they did art on Broadway,
mm-hmm.
for a warm up, they used to go through the script in French. That was their warm up to go on stage at night.
Yeah. Smart guys.
Smart guys,
guys,
amazing men.
Yeah.
Amazing men. So I was really fortunate that I had that experience. And I just, I was very lucky to shoot me. We all knew that we were very lucky. We all knew we were very grateful. We'd all been around for a while.
Yeah. I mean, they don't, listen, everything is, yeah, they talk about the writing, but boy, casting is everything. And you put together a comedy ensemble like that, you kind of can't lose. You guys can elevate any material. But plus, you've got Levitan and the guys that went on to make Modern Family and stuff. So you had the material, but man alive. I mean, just Enrico too. That's where I kind of discovered Enrico, even though I'd seen him in a bunch of other stuff. And he's so great in Galaxy Quest and those things.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Yeah. But yeah, Wendy Malick's just a straight up genius. Do you know, obviously, if you're friends with Wendy, my buddy Dan Lauria loves her like a sister. It's like, yeah, you got to get Wendy on that NCIS, Scott. You need Wendy on there. I'm like, Wendy's always busy. Okay, I'm sorry, but Wendy never stops. So, no, but well, that's an amazing. So obviously that 6-7 years. How many seasons did you guys do?
Yeah, 7 years.
Yeah, I mean that's as an actor, that doesn't happen very often, and it's a hard thing to leave behind. Folks at home, if they want to ever check you out on that, you just did a reunion that I think is still on YouTube right now. If people want to go and find that, it's pretty great, and they show clips of old shows that I had forgotten about that are just hilarious. The thing is so funny. The show is so great. So, and you were great in it, obviously. So.
Yeah, it launched on Hulu.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, you can watch old episodes,
Yeah, I told my daughter just today, I'm like, you need to watch Just Shoot Me. You'd really like it. So, but and then beyond that, obviously, you went to tons of guest star appearances on like the Veronica
Mhm,
Mars. You had a great run on there that you
mhm.
reunited with Enrico. And then personal favorite of mine is Saving Grace. I mentioned earlier about Holly
Mhm.
Hunter, how great you guys were together on that. There's a fabulous cast photo. Boy, that's his stage to cast photo. Were you in the same room for that, or did they just like paste you guys up there for that? That's one of those.
No, we were all there actually, except now I'm forgetting her name because I think I was only in one episode that she was in, but the young actress, she came in the third season, and
Okay.
I think I don't think I did a scene with her, or maybe I did one, but
Yeah.
I can't remember her name right now, but she was lovely.
We've seen
But
these
we
cast
were
photos
all
that we.
there in that shoot.
Okay, great. Because you've seen where they're not. Sometimes they're not. So we can paste these things
Yeah,
together. But you and Holly had a great rapport. Such a great.
yeah.
She's obviously a favorite as well, and you guys were great together. So, um, and then to our good fortune, you were available to us to do NCIS and for us to get you on. I will tell you, a high school buddy of mine, a guy named Curtis Confalone, is on. He's like a ridiculous NCIS super fan. And so when I was, writing your character, the name Grace Confalone, Grace, my daughter, and the last name Confalone, I had to actually correct you on the pronunciation of that so that his
Oh,
feelings wouldn't be hurt.
oh
But
my gosh. When I was preparing for that, would go through with Matt, and he would go, "You're not saying it right. You're not saying it right.
yes,
You're not saying it right."
he told me
And
that. He drew
somehow it got twisted in my brain, and then I would get so nervous when I would come up and I had to say it, and it didn't imprint correctly, and
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
Confalone. I wanted to put an extra syllable in there, Confalone or something like
you did.
that.
You say
It
Confalone. Yeah.
somehow, it didn't work. Because sometimes there's a loose
There's a reason we call you Dr.
screw.
Grace on the show because other people have trouble with it as well. So now you're just Dr. Grace. But um, like I said though, you came in and like everybody, the crew fell in love with you, and I know our
Sweet.
fans, our longtime fans, were just so happy to see you. And the big dog Harmon, man, he's just like, when are we getting great? When are we getting SanGiacomo back? He's always asking for you back, and
Oh, sweet.
obviously you're going to be back for us for like I said, a cup of coffee, a little small thing in this
Yeah.
abbreviated season. This is what we've got. So,
Yeah.
but we hope to get you back for a whole lot more next year. But you, yeah,
Yeah.
you elevated our show a little bit, so we're grateful to you for that.
Well, obviously we've been going through all these different scenarios, and I've been on a few sets, and there's something very magical about this particular NCIS set. I haven't been on the other ones,
Mhm.
but I felt it when I walked in, and there's a really warm feeling, and it's a really warm and smart crew. They really care about each other, and I know they've been together a long time, but I really look forward to driving up the 5 to Santa Clarita to see you guys. I just love it.
Well, we love when you do it too. We love when
I
we get
just love
you.
it.
Yeah. No, I knew, like I said, I knew from that first table read, man, you just like, you opened your script, you had all the notes in there, and then you opened your mouth. And it's just fun to sit at the end of the table and watch people just kind of go, lean in and go, like look down the table, like, oh, it is Laura SanGiacomo. Holy crap. I better be good. I better bring my A game. I better, read this, because honestly, it's like, as in the drudgery of a season, sometimes when you're on episode 18, you're like, whatever, just what am I reading? And they bring it to the screen, but when it's a table read, they're trying to eat their lunch. Well, the day you
Yes.
came, nobody ate lunch. Everybody was like, no, I'm an actor. I'm going to put up my best self here. So it was very, I want to move on from that though, to talk a little bit about, again, back to our being kindred spirits. You did something really remarkable. We were grateful to have a community of friends that helped us launch Shane's Inspiration, which we now call Inclusion Matters by Shane's Inspiration. You were inspired by your son by Mason to found an incredible school called the CHIME School. Do you want to talk about that some?
Yeah, sure. We were very lucky that we learned about the CHIME preschool, which is connected with California State University Northridge. It's a lab preschool, which means that it is about studying children.
Mm-hmm.
And they had received a grant about 10 years earlier from the US Department of Education to study full inclusion at the preschool level.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were 2 or 3 spots per preschool classroom for a child who happened to have some sort of disabilities. And we were very lucky to get in there. It was a lottery by birthday. So when he was in the preschool, some of the older children were starting to graduate and go to schools in their neighborhood. And there was varying degrees of acceptance / resentment / mean stuff that was happening in schools around the city with children who had already been fully included. And parents were very disheartened and upset and hurt and all kinds of things. I mean, there were schools that got it and that were really trying and that were pushing in the supports that children needed. Right. And then there weren't. And I have to say that a lot of parents, they find me, they call me, and I heard a lot of really sad stories. So, and of course, a lot of people in the business that maybe aren't as public about their children as I have been, because I want to leave a wake of help. You know, right. I want to leave people with a sense of community and that we're all in this together and we're all moms just trying to help each other.
Sure.
And so one of the moms came to me and said, you know, listen, there's a consent decree in the LAUSD for full inclusion, but they're 30% below the national average. And if we've got this model that really works, why not take advantage of the charter school movement that's going on right now and see if we can start an elementary school? And so parents bugged the dean of the Department of Education at CSUN, and he agreed to give it a shot. And so a bunch of professors from California State University Northridge, as well as other peers of theirs in different, in the California state system, who had worked on inclusion, worked on a charter for 2 years. And it was finally accepted by the Los Angeles Unified School District a month before we were supposed to open.
Oh, wow.
So we found
so you didn't know, you're preparing as though it's going to happen, but you don't know if you're really going to be able to do it.
You can't rent a space until you know if you're a school or not.
Right.
So everything was very last minute. And
How old is Mason? How old is Mason at this point? Is he ready to go to this school, or you're just preparing him?
Yeah, he's about to go into kindergarten.
Okay.
Yeah. And so within a month, we hired staff, we found a place, we rented it. And within the first 100 days, our local NPR station came to do a radio show about this school. And so they came on the first 100th day of school. And by that time, kids were not identifying their friends by their whatever disability they happen to have. They were identifying them by the backpack they had, the sweater they were wearing. They did not see disability. And when that was the year of 9/11. And so when there was a moment of silence in the schools all over the country, our school, we happened to have also about 5 or 6 children who happened to be deaf. And so the whole school signed the Pledge of Allegiance. And actually, Mason had a talking computer at that time. His was the only voice on the playground. Everyone else signed the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wow.
So this was a beautiful, amazing, magical educational place that has grown to be an elementary school and a middle school, and has received awards, and has also hosted educators from around the world to see this model of full inclusion with supports pushed into the classroom. Instead of going to a school, a building over there, If you're not like us, come and be in our classroom, because we all need something.
Yeah. We all grew up obviously with special class.
Yeah.
That kid's in special class. And that just meant that they weren't with the others. They weren't mixed in. And like, yes, it was often in a building over there.
Yes.
And that's, again, that's the kindred spirits part with Shane's, where we're really just about inclusion. We're really just about, it's not about building playgrounds for kids with disabilities or differently abled kids, but getting them included and playing together with other kids of other abilities.
Yes. Yes. I love, there's something that I said about Shane's that I really dawned on me. One time I was doing a little speech at an event for you guys, and I said, love can really change the world, and Shane's inspiration changes the world 1 acre at a time. And that's what you guys have done, 1 acre at a time.
Well, you've done it 1 kid at a time, honestly. Guys, you've done the same thing, and that's why we just, we're so grateful to you just to even be here to talk about that, because it's, I feel like we're kindred spirits for life, for sure. I've just told that there's a link to the CHIME School in the chat if people are interested to learn more about it. And I'm also seeing too that a friend, Quentin Williams, is saying that he hadn't heard the language of different abilities versus disabilities, and he'll continue to use that language going forward, which I think is, again, it's one of those like incremental things that eventually will change the world. With us, with playgrounds, it was sort of like we were hoping to be in the business of not needing to be necessary, that all playgrounds would simply be built for all kids of all abilities, and not have to be special parks or anything like that. I do want to remember one thing that I'd read an interview with you. I know we're running low on time, but I wanted to talk about you in an interview. It said that one of your, it was a great milestone for you when Mason got in trouble at school for talking.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it was because he's nonverbal and he's got the talking. But for you, that was like the day he got in trouble was a great day for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how we learn, right?
Yeah.
We got to get in trouble. Got to make mistakes. Got to feel the edges of our world. Got to push up against them. And so I was always happy when we got in trouble.
Yeah, it sounds funny, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And he used to get in trouble in preschool for wanting to stand up during circle time. And I was like, if you don't help facilitate him, stand up in circle time and walk over to the teacher, because she's gorgeous and she probably smells really good. And then he can get in trouble and she could talk right in his face and tell him to go sit down. Yeah. I mean, he's not going to get to experience that. And that's really important. So sure. Yeah.
Great day. That's a good day to breathe, for sure. I have some questions from some fans at home, if you don't mind.
Okay.
From Amanda C. in Northport, Alabama. Hi, Amanda. As an actor who brings Dr. Grace Confalone to life on NCIS, what have you experienced on the show? I think we kind of covered this, but you can say a little more if you want to. Go on. What makes you think, what is it that you believe that we're the longest running show? Like I said, I think you may have already answered this, but. Just that warmth. I mean, what contributes to the show being so successful? Yeah. What do you attribute its 18 years of running? Well, it's got to be the story. It's got to be the writing. It's got to be the heart. It's got to be Harmon. It's got to be the rest of the cast. You come for the adventure, you're caught by the heart. Oh, I love that. Okay. That's how it is. You come for the comedy, you're caught by the heart. Yeah. For sure. And so that's the same thing with NCIS. You come for the adventure and of the story, and you get caught by the heart, and people are invested and involved in those characters. That's why we do it, just to tell story and to. On these crime shows, it's funny. We like work so hard to come up with these ripping yarns and hide the mystery of who killed the guy, and and then inevitably, like you see fans, they don't care about the crime. They're just like, are those two going to hook up? Or is he going to get, is his daughter going to be okay? They care about all the interpersonal stuff, the mortar between the bricks that hold the whole story together. So it's always about the personal and the characters. So and yes, Amanda, you will be seeing Laura in an episode this season. I won't tell you when. She asked, are you going to get Laura back? From John M in Fairport, New York. Hi, John. Who inspired you the most in your career? Is there anyone that you haven't mentioned yet that inspired you most in your career? And as a connection to that question, what actor would you most like to meet, either living or deceased?
Huh.
So it can be
Wow.
someone that inspired. I know, very heady question from John in Fairport, New York. But.
Inspired the most. Well, I've talked about a little bit about that. I mean, certainly The Deer Hunter was really influential to me, as well as That Girl and Marlo Thomas and
Right.
Elizabeth Montgomery and Bewitched.
But it sounds like George Segal inspired you quite a bit as well.
George Segal has been a really important, all of my, all of the people that I've worked really close to, I have a lot of really wise and supportive voices in my head, and not in a bad way, but in a good way. As I was saying, just even with Jimmy Spader saying, yeah, one of the great things about this career, this work, is to be able to travel the world. And so I try to really absorb what the people around me, what they're saying. I try to learn all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I've learned and been inspired by a lot of people. And certainly Wendy and I have, we've been together for, we've worked together several times, and Holly too. And, yeah. But a lot of different people. Yeah,
it's great that you say you're because again, I think there are actors or people in any profession that have worked at it long enough where they feel like they know everything, but you continue to want to learn. I mean, you are directors' dream. They love directing you because you like being directed. You want to know, how am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Not every actor is like that. Not every person in life is like that. They don't want to be told how to do things, how they do what they do.
I'm just bossy at home. I try not to be bossy at home.
Matt wishes you would take better direction at home. From our dear friend and LA News legend, Kent Shocknick, provides the last question here. The last question from the guests. I just have a couple of quick ones to throw in there. On filming day itself, can you compare differences for getting into character between a comedy like Just Shoot Me and a drama like NCIS? Is there a difference? I mean, are you just playing the truth? You're funny, Matt?
It depends on what the feeling is. I mean, for Just Shoot Me, like, we were really, you're really getting a bit amped up, obviously, to start the train in motion.
Right.
And with something like NCIS, or like a single camera like that, yeah, you want to be alert and, have your spidey senses working, but it's a little bit more internal and controlled. It's not like, okay, let's fire up the coal engine and here comes the train. It's a little bit more like, it's a little bit finer energy, if that makes any sense.
I think so. Yeah. That's very, you're always, it's true to you. And then if the script happens to be funny, it comes out funny. If you're playing drama, you're playing the truth, and it's coming out how it comes out. So that's great. In the actor realm, or even just in the person realm, would you have advice for younger actors, maybe in the form of giving advice to your younger self? Is there anything you would tell your younger self if you could go back?
Oh, brother, do words really teach?
What?
No, here's what I think. I think that sometimes words don't teach, but then I also have all these examples of people who've said these words to me that I have learned from. So I think it's really about loving this life. It is a life, and you have to gauge if you're in this for the long haul, or you can be in it for a while and out and back in it and out. But it is a life, and it is a life of falling in love and immersing yourself in this work and in this script, and then having to separate yourself from that and begin it again and again and fall in love again and have a whole nother relationship with a whole nother script and and character again and again. And there's something that is so fun and amazing about that. And the process of getting the jobs, that process of loving the audition process, to love being able to do your 2 minutes without anybody else's ideas, just yours. What do I have to give that's unique to me? And those are the two things that I really think about a lot, is this life of falling in love.
That's beautiful.
And loving the process.
That is beautiful. I have to say, a lot of actors don't like auditioning. You know, they love acting, they don't like auditioning. And because it's the pressure's on, and you're in front of people in a small room, and they're kind of, you know, maybe they're waiting to go eat their lunch, or they're less than focused. But we always know when an actor walks in who truly loves what they're doing, or really loves that. And like you said, they're going to give you their best for their 2 minutes, and they always stand out. And you're definitely one of those. A couple of James Lipton type questions. Your favorite word? Is this a weird way to end? What is your favorite word?
It's got to be love.
Do you have a least favorite word?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
While you're thinking about it, do you have a favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Perfect. You sound so good saying it too. You just feel like a Jersey girl. It just trips out of you.
I think I would like to claim that I believe that Jenna Rollins once said to me that the way that I say fuck is fantastic. And she's the first lady of the American cinema.
She is. But you've got the voice, and you got the Jersey attitude. There's sort of, you know, I'm sorry, Texans don't say fuck like people from New Jersey do. They just don't. There's that goofy question of, you know, you go up to the pearly gates, and you're getting greeted. And this is, again, with apologies to James Lipton, but you know, what do you want to hear? What do you want them to say to you when you're stepping out of this mortal coil? Is there anything?
Good job. You showed up and you did a good job. That's all we need. You don't have to be perfect. We're not here to be perfect. As Gary Marshall and Lowell Gantz wrote in the play, Wrong Turn at Lungfish.
Oh, yeah.
We're not here to be angels. We're only here to hear the angels.
I spoke over you. Would you repeat it?
Oh, I was saying that there's a great line from Wrong Turn at Lungfish by Gary Marshall and Lowell Gantz. And it is, we're not here to be angels. We're here to hear the angels. Wow. So it's not about being perfect. It's not about getting it all right. It's just about showing up and being present and doing a good job.
I can't think of a better thing to go out on than that. Laura SanGiacomo, thank you so much for spending an hour with us now, a little hour and 5. So thanks for going a little overtime with us. Marcy, I believe we're doing a drawing among the people that are here now that are going to get to a breakout room and go speak with Laura. You and I are going to chaperone.
Yes, we are. I have the guest list in front of me, and I have a random number generator. Okay. So I'm just going to push the button, and it is number 25 on the list. And it is Serena Nelson.
No way.
Serena Nelson, who's actually a really big NCIS fan.
Like the NCIS fan.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's perfect.
Congratulations, Serena. We're going to put you in a breakout room in just a minute, but we have just a few pictures of Laura at some of our events that we didn't get to share. I just wanted to maybe end with a few pictures from
Sure,
them.
Please do. Yeah. What do we got?
Your lovely wife with David Koechner and Laura.
Oh, so Koechner's the really handsome guy in the middle. My lovely wife, Catherine, on the right. Yes. And again, you're just, oh, there you are. Hey, I haven't seen that one. There you go. You've been with us a long time. There's Dapper Matt right there.
Just you getting the award at our gala.
That's right.
With Sean Hayes there.
Sean Hayes was so funny.
That's my mom.
Yes, we had to end on that. That was at our tea. Yes.
So good to see her. I'll never forget Sean Hayes, and introducing you was so great, because I remember he got up and he made the joke, and he just goes, first of all, I just want to thank you all for creating Sean's inspiration. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I never forget. And then he did one of those great, like, looked off stage, like, what? Oh, Shane. Oh, well, he did one of those. So he's an amazing guy. But yes, I remember you getting that award well. Hey, Laura, we love you. And thanks to everyone at home for tuning in. We know because you're here, you obviously loved her coming in. I'm sure after talking to her for an hour, you love her a little bit more. I hope I didn't get in the way of that. But Laura, you're the best. Thank you. And thank you, everyone at home.
Thank you. Thank you, Shanes, for everything you do for so many kids.
Well, thank you for supporting us. And thank you to everyone who joined us tonight in support of Inclusion Matters by Shane's Inspiration. It's been a challenging year, 2020, but we made it through. We opened a few playgrounds, even though we were under COVID. We did open a few playgrounds in Davenport and Santa Cruz, and we have 5 that we started designs on that we're working on, new ones, and we have a lot of programs that we did for during COVID that are online for our families. So it's been challenging, but thanks to friends like you, we have made it through. So thank you all so much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. So now we're staying on.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, we're going to go in the breakout room now.
Oh, we're going to a breakout room. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.